Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Through the Lens. Coming up this week, I talk to you about one golden rule of photography, and of course this applies to photography, filmmaking and the media industry in general. But I hear you ask, what is the golden rule of photography? And that, of course, is the the rule of thirds. How this works is, on your camera setting, there's a number of settings involved, and you've got a grid that is split up into squares. Excuse me. This grid split into it's either 9 squares or 12. I'll just double check that. You'll have a grid of 9 squares to help you position what you are looking at. Now, imagine looking through a viewfinder. As you look through the viewfinder, study the LCD screen and imagine 2 vertical horizontal lines spaced evenly, creating a grid of 9 squares. This is what you will use to focus on your image and make sure it's slightly over to one side, meeting the grid in the middle and slightly to the right. Your subject has to be in line with what is on your grid, and if your subject isn't, you will end up with a poor result and an offset photograph. This also applies to filmmaking and video, as well as other forms of media. This tip has been brought to you by Lonely Planet, and the Lonely Planet photography book is available now, of which I might leave down in the description if I can find a link to it. Join me next week where I talk about different ways of setting up photographs in order to get different results. That's next week on the of May, possibly. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, join me next week when I'll have episode 5 available to you. See you then. Bye bye.